motivation and preparation led to a new sensation, new creation. That's what you're facing. Now watch my elevation.
The next topic we're going to discuss on Boxing Bros. We got Poppy G in the building, so you already know where we're going with this. It's our reaction to Edgar Berlanga versus Romaer Angulo. And Edgar Berlanga got the decision. He won a comfortable decision last night. An easy decision according to the judges. But some people felt otherwise. I saw some people on Twitter felt like Angulo won. Some people felt like the scorecards were too wide. Conspiracy G, you are Poppy G, representing the Puerto Rican Day Parade. What do you have to say about the performance last night?
All right, I'll say this. I actually didn't score the fight because I honestly thought Berlanga was just going to body bag this dude. But I did when Ned called the eye test. And I was like, whoa. And Angulo's actually putting in some work. There was a couple of rounds where I was like, clearly Angulo won. You know what I mean? Like, there was times where he tested Berlanga's jaw, rocked him, hurt him. So then when I seen two scorecards said 99-91, I was like, hold on, what? You know, I'm like, how is that even possible? You know, so I'm not necessarily against Berlanga winning. I'm just against the setup from the judges. The judges, it was like the fix was in, and that wasn't right for my man Angulo. But I will say this, both Berlanga and Angulo weren't as active as they should have been. And what I didn't like about Berlanga, and it's hard because I tried to suspend any previous notions of fighters, right, in a fight. But it's hard when ESPN is force-feeding me he's a knockout artist, this, that, and the third. Then they're like, yo, now he's implementing boxing. So I'm like, okay, let's see this dude box. He doesn't throw the jab as much. He doesn't set up punches good, you know. And there was times where he was like not really throwing anything and then moving off the back foot. And I'm not necessarily against fighters that fight off the back foot, right? But when you're just moving off the back foot, not throwing any punches, it makes you wonder, like, are you running? You know? And so there was a lot of things that Berlanga was doing, man, that I was just so disappointed in. You know what I mean? And not to mention all the antics, like he was throwing low blows. There was one time, and it was deliberate. I don't know if y'all seen this. The ref was on like their left-hand side, and with the right hand, Berlanga like punched this dude by his kneecap. And I'm like, yo, why would you do that? You know what I mean? So that was like the first sign of Berlanga was showing me frustration. Then, you know, he started to elevate. He pulled the Mike Tyson later on. I was just like, what's going on? And at the end of the fight, you know, the fight's over and you still talking spicy to Angulo. Like, yo, fam, like, relax, bro. You know what I mean? Like, you had a whole 12 rounds. Oh, no, excuse me, 10 rounds. Excuse me. You had a whole 10 rounds to do damage. And then you're going to wait till the end to talk all that spicy talk. I was just like, all right, man, this is a gimmick, you know? And so shout out to Berlanga, man. You know, like, I don't know what you could do to improve, but I remember, and I was just telling Kaden this earlier before we started recording, like, I remember when Berlanga was, like, calling out Benavidez, and I was like, bro, you don't want that, champ. Now I'm like, I want that. You know what I mean? Let my man Berlanga put you in the dirt. You know what I mean?
That's right. Berlanga put you in the dirt.
Oh, I said that. My bad.
Yeah. No. That was a Floridian slip. That was a Floridian slip, G. Go ahead.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
And you know it was a slip. That's the thing. You
know
it was
a Floridian slip.
You don't believe that.
You knew that. You know that's what's going to happen. So, but go ahead. Go ahead, G. No, go ahead. Keep saying. Go ahead. You were talking.
Listen, Benavidez will violate this man. Like, Berlanga, man, like, don't let ESPN and your handlers gas you up too much. And it's not just him. Like, you know, I think all promoters do this, but Berlanga, you're in a good space. You're Puerto Rican. You know, you're from New York. You know, like, there's legendary Puerto Rican fighters. You have the Puerto Rican Day Parade that's huge for boxing. So ESPN naturally is like, yo, we can push this dude. We can make a lot of money off of him. We're going to build this around this guy, just like they're building around Ali's grandson, right? It's like, I can't necessarily knock Bob Arum and ESPN and Top Rank for coming up with this marketing strategy, right? It's a good marketing strategy, but on your end, you gotta deliver. You just have to, and so take your craft serious, man. Like, I don't know, watch tape, watch film, like, go to different gyms, man. Look at different trainers, like talk to other, like, talk to Miguel Cotto, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna say this. Salute to Miguel Cotto for leaving before that fight started. You know what I mean? My man was old. He had to get home. It's past his bedtime. Salute to my man.
Watch your mouth.
I'm gonna be honest. He had to get home, bro. He got the key. He got the key to not the city, but he got what was it, like the key to Madison Square, whatever. That was dope. But my man, I'm just happy he left before that performance. Yo, it was a bad night for Puerto Rican fans, man. I must say. But Berlanga, like all the time, they kept comparing him to Trinidad, to Cotto. I'm like, for what? You know what I mean? You don't need to do that. You know what I mean? Like, the only thing is, it doesn't equate. Like, in the beginning when he was knocking out guys, we didn't know really, how good those guys were because they were getting flatlined, right? But Angulo was an old head. Angulo, yeah, like they're like, oh, he has punching power. But I honestly thought, and forgive me for saying this, but I honestly thought I forgot what round it was. Might have been the 8th. Angulo walked up to him, and it looked like he lowered his guard and was like, bro, I think this is the moment where you're supposed to knock me out. Like, literally, he looked at Berlanga like, what are you doing? You're not going to swing? And I was just like, yo, did they just pay off Angulo or something to take an L? You know what I mean? And then Berlanga didn't seal the deal. And I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know. So that's why I'm just like 99 to 91, them scorecards, I can't co-sign. I smell corruption, So salute to Edgar, bro. But I honestly, and this is it's funny, like, people give Timothy Bradley a lot of slack, right, for his commentary. But Timothy was the only one last night really defending Edgar. And I was like, salute to Timothy for that, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I feel like I was wondering, am I too harsh on Edgar? Like, but then I'm like, yo, this is his 20th fight, and he's talking extra spicy. So it's like he's putting the criticism on himself. But if Edgar was more humble, would we be as, I guess, judgmental of his performance? Maybe not, So that's why I'm like, it's just unfortunate because it's an equation, and he's in the middle of it, and it's just, hey, man, it's just how he was dealt a hand that hopefully, man, he could get some books in, but it's looking like he's now officially food. I don't think anybody's gonna be ducking this dude. I think everybody at 160 and 168 are gonna want a piece of this kid. They're gonna be like, yeah, let me get that next fight for the next Puerto Rican day so I can smash him. Like, I'm just saying, man, Edgar, yo, you let a lot of people down, man. Your performance was just subpar, man. And salute to Angulo, my man. Keep doing your thing, but I don't know. I was disappointed in both gentlemen. They ain't throwing enough punches, man. That's the difference between, at least, and I have criticisms about Munguia, but at least Munguia throws his hands. Berlanga, you're supposed to throw your hands, and now you on some I'm learning boxing, relax, people's gonna come, and it never came, man. So I don't know. Shame on you, bro.
All right, $12 bill.
Shoot. I'm all over the place with this, right? First of all, he's only on his 20th fight, right? A lot of other kids like Munguia get to make it to go up to like 30-something fights and 40-something fights.
Deontay Wilder.
Yeah, and other fighters get to make it to before they get a real test, This guy was a real test. I don't want to keep saying that, Berlanga was supposed to steamroll through this guy and try to make it seem like this guy was absolute food when he really wasn't. If you take a look at his resume, he had the 2 losses, but they were tough losses. Benavidez stopped him late in the 11th round. Then you had the 10th round. And then you had
No, it was 11. It was 11.
Was it the 11th?
Yeah, 11.
Well, that was the 10th. That's what they were saying on the.
No,
Well, it
this
doesn't
is-
matter. He stopped him late.
Yeah, he stopped him late. And then, you know, he went the distance with Ramirez. So I think that, you know, he was a tough test for the kid. I think people just have high expectations. Maybe with what you say, G, you know, how he comes out with the flash and how he talks sometimes. Maybe people expect more from him. It was a tough fight, but he got the nod. I didn't score the fight. I did the TBE. And you know, I thought the kid pulled out a tough fight. If he was going to give it to the nod to somebody, I would give it to Berlanga. I don't think that he washed this guy, and I don't think this guy should be ashamed. If anything, maybe do it again. Shoot, maybe he can learn something different. Also, I just don't want the people to be fooled. It just showed you right there that Edgar Berlanga has a lot to learn. He's not these elite guys yet. That's all that showed me. That he's a young man that still got a lot to learn, that he's still trying to find himself. I don't like the whole situation, how they're trying to play on the Puerto Rican people, you know, the great people of Puerto Rico. Matter of fact, I want to shout out to all the Puerto Rican fans that always come out into attendance. The fans in New York, y'all are amazing. You know, win, lose, or draw, y'all always come out and show your love to the fighters. Even after they lose, y'all always still show your fighters love. But don't be fooled. He is not Trinidad. He is not Miguel Cotto, and this is not his time right now. I think this is a situation where they're trying to build him, you know? And I don't want people to just be disappointed. I think that give him time. Give him time to own his craft. I think there is a kid. And when I say don't be fooled, because when I see what they're trying to do with giving him the Puerto Rican trainer, do that whole thing to try to manipulate the Puerto Rican public, or how they do to try to, like G was saying, the cash in on the parades, the Puerto Rican Day Parade and everything else. I see that happening. The thing that he needs to focus on is going back to the drawing board in skills. As a kid, though, that I do want to mention, and I do want to give a shout out, that is from Puerto Rico, that I think that y'all should definitely get behind and give a lot of praise and a lot of love to, because he's definitely putting in the work. As am I saying his name right?
Am I saying this right?
Am I saying it right?
Xander Zayas.
Xander Zayas. I think that this kid is it. When they say, is he it? I don't think Berlanga is it now. I think he's a work in progress. I don't want to down the kid and hard bash this young man, you know, who only got 20 fights under his belt. I think he's a work in progress. But the person that I do think is special and I do think got the it is the kid Xander Zayas.
Yeah, but Troy, I would say this though. But Xander Zayas is from Puerto Rico, and Edgar's from the States. Because I think what they're doing
he was born in Puerto Rico, though.
Yeah, but I don't think that matters. Because remember how they Puerto Rico treated Danny Garcia. You know what I mean?
But Danny wasn't born. They said that he was born in Puerto Rico, then moved to New York. But even well, you know what I'm saying? With they're trying to, you know, use that whole thing. Then why they not? I don't see this type of fanfare for Xander Zayas then.
Yeah, but I think Xander Zayas got the support, the backing in Puerto Rico. Xander Zayas needs that backing for the Puerto Rican Americans, you know, here. So it's like it's almost a reverse.
Mm-hmm.
Like Edgar's trying to get the Puerto Rican fans from Puerto Rico, while Xander Zayas needs to get the Puerto Rican Americans. You know what I mean? So it's a little different.
Well, they need to get hip because this kid is special. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying it now. Like a long time ago, we used to call it about a kid. The kid that used to be with Floyd's daddy. We used to call it. You remember Caden, the little boy that used to be with Floyd's daddy?
Oh, you talking about Devin?
Yeah, he ended up getting a couple belts. You know what I'm saying? He got a couple belts, you know. And so, and see these kids coming up, and I'm saying like this kid has it too. As long as he stays focused, because all this kid does is live and breathe is boxing. He's not concerned with the fanfare or the bling bling. He's concerned about getting in there and letting his hands swing. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Xander Zayas.
All right, TBE.
G say he wasn't impressed with both gentlemen. I'm gonna say I was more impressed with Angulo than Edgar Berlanga because I feel at times as many fights as Berlanga has had now, his defense is really lackluster, and he really needs to work on that. And I don't agree with him just like getting building a fan base is one thing, but if you want to last in this game sport, you really need to build your skill set. And I know you like to knock them out, but you gotta learn to be more swift, build up, set up angles, and set up that knockout instead of just trying to take it off of raw power. Because last night, what I saw from you, Berlanga, it wasn't impressive at all. And I would tell you to get with some fighters in the Brooklyn area that reach out to Mike Tyson, see if he give you some training sessions or something like that. Learn something new, add some to your game.
You already learned something from Mike, man. Relax.
Yo, they both from Brooklyn, yo. So, reach out, see what he's willing to take you in, give you a couple sessions, learn something new. Reinvent reinvent yourself a little bit. Like keep that power you got because it's special. But you really need to clean up on that defense, and you really need to clean up on setting up some punches, setting up those punches. But I say this, I did not agree with those scorecards. They were outlandish. They were wild. Like there was 100 to 91, 99 to 91, and like 98 to like 92, and that was insane. I thought Angulo, I really give him a run for his money. And that was just disrespectful for him, for that man when you heard those scorecards that night. Straight robbery. And Berlanga, I'm rooting for you. I just want you to do better.
Yo, I'm laughing at all this. It's funny to me. And it just goes to show you how some people are critiqued more harshly than others. But before I dive into that, let's dive into this. I think part of the reason why Berlanga is being critiqued the way he is this new promotion that ESPN is doing that to me is absolutely cringeworthy. You see it with Nico Walsh, Ali's grandson, who's a Walsh. You see it with Nico Walsh, right? Where they keep trying to put him in the same sentence with Muhammad Ali, and it's just not happening. It's like they'll be like, on this great day, Ali beat this person, and now his grandson, who he told Ali, if you want me to box, squeeze my hand, and Ali squeezed his hand, and it's like, you want me to buy this? This is the biggest piece of garbage that I've ever heard in my life. Then you look at the picture they show when he's sitting with Muhammad Ali, and he's like 10 years old. So then why wasn't he boxing since he was 10 then, if this story is true? You understand? Then you look at Edgar Berlanga and how they're trying to promote him. He came to Madison Square Garden when he was 9 to see Miguel Cotto, and he said to his dad, I'm going to be the next great Puerto Rican fighter. Stop it. Stop it. One, I don't know. I haven't seen the pictures or whatever from when he went to that fight when he was 9. But even if it exists, this whole talking like I'm going to be the next great Puerto Rican fighter in Madison Square Garden, because he's not that. He's not that. Then you find ways to put Edgar Berlanga's name in there with Miguel Cotto and Felix Trinidad, the same way you keep trying to put Nico Walsh's name in there with Muhammad Ali. And it's disgusting. So what you do is you create a lot of people who want to see Nico Walsh get knocked out. Now, I wish no ill on any man, but let's just say if Nico Walsh got knocked out, I would be happy. Not because I want Nico Walsh to get knocked out, but you can stop with this nonsense. That's what I would be happy about. I don't have to hear this nonsense anymore. It's not that I even want Nico Walsh to lose. Let the kid be himself. It's not enough to say that he's Ali's grandson. It's not enough to say he wants to follow in his granddad's footsteps. It's not enough to say boxing's in his DNA. When you look at his granddad, you look at his aunt. That's not enough. You got to do all this extra stuff, right? You got to do he's just like y'all got to tell him to jump around, or even if he's doing it instinctively, he jumps around in a ring, and y'all compare it to Muhammad Ali and be like uncanny. Stop it, bro. Stop it. And this is what you're doing with Edgar. So what you're doing, I think, you're creating people who are getting upset with the comparison, so they want to see Berlanga lose because they feel like he's no Cotto, he's no Trinidad. You're talking about guys that people loved. Yo, People like Miguel so much. His opponents liked him. Miguel's opponents liked him. That's how much people like Miguel Cotto. You know, except Sergio Martinez. But hey, you know, he was like the only one who was like, I hate him. He's the smug a-hole. And everybody was like, why you hate Miguel so much? But most people like Miguel Cotto, right? I'm yet to meet someone who doesn't like Felix Trinidad. Like, if you talk about beloved fighters, he's one of the most beloved fighters. I haven't met someone who was like, I couldn't stand Felix Trinidad. Everyone loves Felix Trinidad. You're taking two of the most loved fighters and you're placing this dude who's done nothing in the same sentence as them. And so people are like, yo, I would love to see this hype job get knocked out. That's how they feel about him, right? So I think that plays a part in why he's critiqued so harshly. Now let's get to this fight. Edgar Berlanga won the fight. There's no doubt in my mind he won the fight. So anyone saying it's a robbery, stop it. I think you tend to overrate and you tend to notice the work that his opponent is doing when you want to see him lose because you feel like he's hyped up or you feel like he's not living up to the hype. So when he's landing 4 jabs, right, and he lands like a hook to the body and then you see Angulo land something, you're like, oh, look at the uppercut Angulo just land. Yeah, but that's one punch. It's one punch. And like, I do think a lot of people were watching that fight and they were underwhelmed and they felt like, yo, this dude isn't living up to the billing. And you watch Angulo and you're like, well, I feel like he's bringing the fight to him because, as G pointed out, Berlanga is walking backward the whole time. So your mind is like, he's controlling this fight. Berlanga isn't really, he's not doing off the back foot what a Devin Haney would do off the back foot. He's not doing off the back foot what a Floyd Mayweather would do off the back foot. He's not doing what a Katie Taylor does off the back foot, which is landing and making someone miss at such a high ratio that it's evident you're in control of the round. But he's still outlanding. He's still doing that. So for me, it was a lackluster performance, but he still won. And as Trill pointed out, this is still a guy who went 10 rounds with Benavidez as well. So let's not sit here and act like this dude isn't durable. And I checked it. It said that Angulo retired in the 10th round against Benavidez. So the point is, this guy's durable, even with Benavidez, which brings me to this point. You know, you bring up the fact that Berlanga has 20 fights, and that's true. But he won his first 16 fights in the first round. So that's a total of 16 rounds. And then you start from his 17th fight, his 18th fight, his 19th fight, his 20th fight. And then you look at the caliber of opponents that he's been in there with. Steve Rose is no pushover. He was in there with Steve Rose. Didn't look magnificent. And then he was in there with Angulo. If you ask me anything, I think they're not giving him enough time to develop because they're putting him in there with guys who he's neck and neck with, maybe a cut above them, and they're making him look bad. But you look at Deontay Wilder, he didn't fight nobody with a pulse until he had like 30 wins in. But nobody says anything about that. Like I said, I made the audits, the edits, what Trill calls it. I know the guys Wilder fought. Wilder didn't fight anyone as good as Roma Angulo in his first 20 fights. So to sit there and judge, Berlanga this harshly, you can't do it if you're a Wilder fan because he's already ahead of Wilder. He's already selling out Madison Square Garden and fighting tougher competition in his 20th fight. Wilder wasn't doing that. So I think,
but I think that's why he receives the criticism. Wilder in his first 20 fights, he wasn't headlining nothing. You see what I'm saying? Like, so they weren't pushing Wilder like that to the public. They're pushing Edgar intentionally to the public. So we're forced to see, Edgar's performance. We're forced almost to have expectations because we're supposed to think this dude is the next Puerto Rican heavyweight. I mean, not heavyweight. Next Puerto Rican boxing star. You know what I mean? So they're forcing us to really look at this guy through a microscope. We didn't do that with Wilder until Wilder started getting on, like, start like headlining on Fox and everything. We were like, oh, okay. And that by that time he was like, what, 30 something in, maybe even almost 40 in, whatever. So that's why it's a little different. They're feeding us Edgar right now.
No, I can accept that point of view, but boxing's a little different now, right? They're feeding us Gervonta. They're feeding us Ryan Garcia. They're feeding us these guys at this level now where they're headlining. Mm-hmm. You understand? Like Ryan Garcia is headlining, but we really, his fight with Tago wasn't the greatest thing in the world, but he's headlining. Nobody disrespects him for that. He stepped up with Luke Campbell, got dropped, right? Nobody's disrespecting him for that. We look at Gervonta Tank Davis, who's knocking out guys in impressive fashion, but he's had some stinkers. Gamboa was an absolute stinker, bro. His fight with Gamboa was horrible. Stinker. His performance against Pitbull Cruz was not that great, and his performance against Barrios, Tank was losing until he got the knockout. But nobody's questioning Tank and saying, oh, he can't compete with Devin. All I saw in the comment section when I pointed out that I think Devin would outbox Tank, you got bias, which y'all got to get a better. When someone disagrees with you, you need to get like a better diss or like some better accusation than someone's bias. Because what about you? You clearly have an agenda. You're clearly going one way. You clearly see things, but I'm biased and you're not, right? Here's the point. Those guys have had underwhelming performances too, and they're being sold to the public. But nobody's critiquing them in a manner that they're critiquing Berlanga. And I think part of the reason is nobody's comparing Tank to Floyd Mayweather, to Bernard Hopkins, to Andre Ward. Nobody's doing that, right? Nobody's comparing Ryan Garcia to Canelo Alvarez, Oscar De La Hoya, and Juan Manuel Marquez. Nobody's doing that. But with Berlanga, they're literally promoting this dude like he's the next great Puerto Rican star. That comes with expectations. So instead of watching a dude who's having his 20th professional fight and really had a streak where he knocked out 16 guys, people are expecting to see the next great thing. And Berlanga's just not that. Not at this moment, may never be that. And I think that's why he's being critiqued so harshly. Whereas Wilder was able to go in and do his thing. These guys are able to go in and do his thing. But once you place that level of expectation, this dude's on national television. He's on basic cable, and he's not fighting on pay-per-view. He's not fighting on the app. Anyone who has ESPN, the worldwide leader of sports in America, could have watched Edgar Berlanga fight last night, and they all had to hear him be compared to Trinidad, be compared to Miguel Cotto, and then watch that performance. And I think that's what contributes to the hate he gets. Did he beat Romaer, Angulo? No doubt in my mind he beat him. I didn't need to score the fight. Like I just do the rounds. Now, I didn't have it as wide as they did, but he won comfortably, right? But the point is, now it's like, oh, well, he won't beat Benavidez. He won't beat these guys. Yo, he got to go at his pace. Look at Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson was champion at 20. Lennox Lewis didn't become champion as fast as Mike Tyson. He didn't develop as fast as Mike Tyson. It took time for Lennox Lewis to hit his peak, to reach his prime. And by the time they met, Lennox Lewis was able to beat him. Now, we can talk about Mike Tyson going to jail and Mike Tyson never being the same and all those things. But the point I'm making is some people peak and grow later at different points in times. I believe that Edgar Berlanga needs more fights. If you ask me right now, should they throw him in with David Benavidez? Hell no. No. But it wouldn't surprise me if 3 years from now he beats Benavidez.
What's your mouth, Kaden?
No, I'm being real because let's look at this. He showed he can knock people out 16 in a row, right? Now he's showing he has a little bit of boxing ability. He's no Devin Haney, but he was on his back foot boxing. He showed he's not just a power puncher. Where people keep saying he needs to reinvent himself, I actually think it's his downfall. Stand there, back people up, and be responsible defensively. You don't need to go on the back foot when you hit like Berlanga. Fight like Triple G. He needs to fight like Triple G. Hell, at best, he needs to try to mimic Canelo Alvarez. Why was he fighting like Devin Haney last night? I don't understand. See, this is the problem when you get too many cooks in the kitchen. You know, he left his guy who was trying to teach him one style. Now he got this other guy hurt him. Just box him. Forget this. Just box him. What do you mean just box him? Make that man respect you, Berlanga. If you hit harder than him and you the knockout artist, you know what? Berlanga needs to fight like Benavidez, but instead he's trying to fight like Floyd Mayweather. I don't get it. So there's so many issues with what's going on with him. I'm gonna just close by saying this. I agree. Oh, my bad. I got one more thing I need to say though. I'm sorry, guys. Berlanga's also going to shoot himself in the foot. Actually, we got another topic about it. I'm just close by saying this. He's being critiqued to me way too harshly for someone with 20 fights. And I think that people need to relax, because if you look at your favorite fighters and see what they were doing in their 20th fight, it's nothing near what he's doing or what he's trying to do. And that comes with a lot of pressure and expectations. And it doesn't help when ESPN is painting you as the next big thing.
Hold on, before you end it, I will say this on the bright side. Edgar did show that he has a good, solid chin, though. He took some mean shots, you know, so that shows like dude he could absorb punches at the very least.
You just need a little bit more work. Let us know how you feel in the comment section. Please like and subscribe. Check us out on Instagram and Twitter. And please check out our podcast on all major streaming services. Elevation, out now on all major streaming services. And don't forget to tune in with us on Tuesday when we go live so you can listen to the new Brothers album.